Hey guys, Aura 1 through 4 here. It is August 1st, so for those of you that play Cardfight Vanguard and use Royal Paladins, you're used to using Stardust Trumpeter for a week. Yes, Barkle is now banned as your starting Vanguard. You can still use him in your deck, but I honestly would not recommend it. The only time Barkle is going to be good is if you get him first turn and play him beside your normal ride. Unfortunately, if you draw him later in the game, he's just a 10k shield that does nothing. I just wait till you get Drangle and the Galahad Ride-Up Chain. It's going to add a little bit of interesting consistency to the deck. It's going to be sort of like what Oracle Think Tank are going to be doing, except there's no real consistent way to cycle all the way back through your deck. But in honor of Barkle getting banned as your starting Vanguard, I am going to do a ban list wish list for this format. Hopefully I don't forget anything. I did write it down, but I'm not looking at it right now. Do I trust Konami to make all the changes? No. Do I hope they at least make some of them, or actually I hope they make most of them? Definitely. This format is way too fast. We have way too many single card Xyz monsters, and it makes just so many issues. Like, trap cards are definitely nowhere near as efficient as they used to be. Players are just throwing their entire hand on the board just so they don't get their hand dropped. It's just, this format is a fiasco, and we've lost too many players to this bad format. So, I'm going to start with the cards I think need banned. First off, Monster Reborn. This card is an iconic card, and it's iconic for doing stupid things. Every time this card gets played in the show, something stupid is about to happen. Someone's going to flip the table because Reborn lets you do that. I've flipped the table because of ripping a Reborn. I know every single one of you has at least had a handful of games where you rip the Reborn and you win a game you have no business winning just because you rip Reborn. It's a magic card, no cost. Take a card from any player's graveyard and bring it back to your control. Sort of broken. We have 3 of Call of the Haunteds and some selective archetype Reborns. We don't need generic Reborn. Next, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Yes, priority is gone. That does not stop him from being broken. He is a light warrior with a chaos summoning effect. You can honest him. If you honest over something that has 2,000 or higher attack and there's nothing else stopping you, you automatically win. That is really stupid. He's semi-nomi, so as long as you summon him properly the first time and it doesn't get negated, you can keep bringing him back. He can banish face-down monsters. So he can get rid of those annoying set cards like Raikou, or he can get rid of Reaper. He can get rid of everything. And, of course, there's his double attack. It's absurd. Yes, you can Effect Veiler him. He's still 3,000. This card is way too powerful. He was banned in the first place for a reason, and he is not welcome in a format. Next card, Future Fusion. A lot of people are going to be a little bit butthurt about Future Fusion going away. But you've got to think about it. Future Fusion is an entirely unfair card. Yes, are there ways to get rid of it? Yes. But nobody who plays Future Fusion cares if the Future Fusion actually gets off. It is all about graveyard setup and drawing fire. Your opponent wastes a warning on Future Fusion. Oh, that's a warning out of the way. If you play it and you mill all the things to graveyard, why Chaos Dragons is an extreme example of potentially taking 7 cards out of your deck, that is assuming you are running 3 Eclipse Wyverns, you are milling 3 Eclipse Wyverns, and you have 3 targets that you can banish for it. Does it happen a lot? No, but 7's usually the number. Heroes run it. Sets their graveyard up for their Gemini Sparks, their Miracle Fusions. It's not a relevant deck, but Chimera Tech OTK. It needs this. Worms mill their entire deck to the graveyard for Future Fusion. This card is essentially Future Fusion. You fuse from your deck, set your graveyard up, and then this also generates like invisible advantage. When an opponent sees Future Fusion going to go off, they're going to go after it, which means every other card you play to the side is a little bit safer. or actually in general, all your cards a little bit safer because they're going to probably try to take out the Future Fusion, because if they don't, something big is going to come out. Absolute Zero, 5-headed dragon, Worm Zero. It's absurd. Escuridao for living heroes. So they're going to take this out. You can get people have wasted heavy storms on Future Fusion just because of how much advantage this card can net you. The instant your opponent sees Future Fusion, they're gonna be instantly drawn like, crap, I gotta move faster, I gotta try to take him out faster. They're more likely to misplay. Now, some people were like, oh, ban 5-headed dragon. I have a huge issue with people saying ban 5-headed dragon. 5-headed dragon is an entirely fair card if you actually pay for it. Fusing 5 dragons should take you a little bit. Even with Dragon's Mirror, you still have to get your graveyard set up for 5 dragons, or your field set up for 5 dragons, and then you banish them all. So there's nothing in the graveyard, so it takes care of a lot of problems. This lets decks that want to be fair and use 5-headed dragon, use things like Dragon's Mirror, allows a little bit of versatility. Future Fusion also prevents future fusion monsters from being made as versatile as they want to, because all they need is one broken card, and Future Fusion is instantly broken again. So, Future Fusion, gone. Mind Control. Mind Control, I was okay with Mind Control at 1 back when we just had Synchro Monsters. I didn't like it, but I was okay with it. Now with Xyz Monsters being how easy they are to summon, Mind Control needs to go away. Steal your opponent's monster. Oh, look at that. I don't have to count anything. I just got to play a monster with the same level. And since there's a lot of 3s, it's easy to hit 3s, 4s. And, I mean, it also like, oh, my opponent made a rank 5 or 6 Xyz monster. Mind Control, stack for Gaia Charger. Mind Control Utopia, stack for Utopia Ray. I don't like this card existing at all. Next. Card Destruction. Card Destruction should be a -1. That disrupts your opponent's hand. Dark Worlds abuse the shit out of this card. At any point Dark Worlds play this card, they're going to plus so much. The amount of advantage that Dark Worlds can net off of Card Destruction isn't fair. It needs banned. Are Dark Worlds the biggest deck in this format? No. But a ban list should not just take care of the problems from the format. It should set up the next format for not being shitty. So ban Card Destruction. Next card. I was thinking a lot about the OCG, because you got to think about the OCG when you're coming up with a ban list like this. And the only card I can think of to restrict Offering Machina Gadget, which is probably, I'd say, either the second or the third best deck in the OCG right now, would be to ban Ultimate Offering. The gadgets make this card way too good. I mean, the deck is already running 2 to 3 double summons. It's running the Tin Plate Goldfishes. I mean, if you restrict any of those, it's not going to really do anything. The big problem is Ultimate Offering. Letting you play as many monsters as you want to, and exceeds infinite number of times, essentially. As long as you have room in Ultimate Offering and gadgets, you can keep Xyz summoning. Which is the problem with Xyz monsters. They're too easy to summon. You can't. They made them too easy to summon. Ultimate Offering needs banned. And next, I put this as a placeholder to remind me. Wind Up Hunter. Wind Up Hunter needs banned. Anybody who played against Wind Up knows that Wind Up Hunter needs bans. Ban the Hunter. They're a good deck that does some really neat things like floater beats or even standard wind-ups, going for some neat things. The biggest problem with wind-ups is them being able to dump their opponent's entire hand in one turn. That is not a fair thing that any deck should be allowed to do. So Wind-Up Hunter, banned. I don't own Wind-Up Hunter. I got rid of it. Okay, those are all the cards I think I need, if I remember correctly, that I need banned. Okay, I'm on to limiting. First, Light Pulsar Dragon. Light Pulsar Dragon is too easy to recur. I mean, he's already a Chaos monster that you can normal summon. And special summon by any way you want to. That's really good. And you know, dragons need good monsters. They're one of the big archetypes that have existed since all time, and I'm glad they finally got to work. Being able to discard a Light in the Dark to bring it back from the graveyard is really, really good. It is a very good boss monster for dragons. I cannot have 3 of them. I mean, this card just eats through warnings and back row like crazy. Take it down to 1. You can still have it. It's a great card. Can't have 3 of it. It's too good for that. Next, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, in my opinion, is probably the best dragon monster there is in the game. Easy as hell to summon. Banish a dragon. Oh no, that is real hard. 28. He's massive. He's level 10, which is not the biggest importance right now, but it's part of the Gustav Max Heretic OTK, and as semi-inconsistent as that is, it's still stupid. Being able to special a dragon, it's a good utility card for dragons, and I think they should still have access to one, but I don't think they should have access to any more, but so the instant you get rid of it, it's gone. Next, Heretic Dragon King of Atum. Heretic still would probably be a little bit too good if you could Atum, special. It could lead to too many issues. Limit Atum, let them do their combo, like get the Darkness Metal out once. Give them a little bit of versatility to get what feed through their deck. Not too much. Next, Tour Guide. Tour Guide, it makes this format absurdly fast. Is she the only problem? No, but she is definitely a big one. And she makes rank 3 monsters almost completely godly. I mean, Zen Minds is great. I'll use him as an example. Zen Minds is fantastic. But half of his biggest problem is the fact that people are running 3 Tour Guides in their deck, and they're like, oh, look at that Tour Guide Zen Minds. Tour Guide Zen Minds. Tour Guide Zen Minds. Oh, let me average things back. Tour Guide Zen Minds. Or it's Leviair for Dino Rabbit, or any monster that they need, pretty much. Normally, I would not say Tour Guide would even get hit. But we've already seen Reborn Tengu on the ban list, well, the semi-limited list, for an entire I guess we'll call it an entire format. This coming ban list will be the second time he's on the list. And Japan hasn't had him at all. They won't even have him for this next list. So that's 2 lists that he's going to be on that Japan won't have him for. Yes, they will be getting the new extra pack pretty much like a month after the ban list. Tour Guide ruined our format. If you look at the top decks, with a couple of notable examples, every deck has pretty much ran 3 Tour Guides and a Sangan since Tour Guide came out. It is absurd. This card needs limited. Next, Inzektor Dragonfly. Inzektors are really good, especially in Japan where they don't have Dino Rabbit to compete with. They do have Verzlagia, but it isn't as... They don't consistently go for like the Dolka. Like they don't have Dolka, and they can't consistently go for the Rabbit. So that's why Inzektors are pretty much the top deck one of the top decks over in Japan, I should say. I won't say the top because they can get hit pretty hard with certain decks. But Dragonfly facilitates the derp they can do. Like its specials, the whole special thing is really good, and it's too good to be at 3. I mean, Dragonfly, Centipede, add Dragonfly is really stupid. There are ways to get Dragonfly back. You've got Sword, you've got Gigamantis, you've got ways to bring it back. We've got 3 Call of the Freaking Honids. You don't need 3 Dragonflies to go along with it. Next, Elemental Hero Bubbleman. We haven't had to deal with living heroes or alive heroes in the TCG at all. Pretty much because our format's a little bit too fast for them, plus we don't have Escuridao or Heroic Champion Excalibur, which help facilitate the OTK. But Bubbleman at 3, just being able to constantly special him is really dumb. Put him at 1, and just leave him at 1. He should be fine there. Super Poly to 1. Super Poly is a great card, being able to steal from your opponent's field, and it also can't be responded to. Really good. It's one of the very few cards in the game that can't be responded to. Shouldn't be at 3. It should be a big trump card that you can only play one of. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Next, Drag Down into the Grave. This card is Confiscation. Any good Dark World player will set their hand up so they only have Dark Worlds in their hand and play Drag Down. This isn't minusing them anything, and you're just pretty much you're picking cards out of your opponent's hand. Drag Down, I don't like it seeing it at 3. It's better than Confiscation in a lot of ways. Limit Snow. Dark World Snow lets you search out any Dark World card. It's a little too it's worse than Rhoda, worse than Stratos. Search out any Dark World card. Search out whatever you need. It's too versatile to be at 3. Next, MST to 1. We need to be in a format where you can set cards. Okay? We have Heavy Storm. We have 3 Night Beams. We have 3 Dust Tornadoes. We have 3 Noblemen of Exterminations. We don't need 3 MSTs along with them. If you want to run more trap removal, run Night Beams or run Dust Tornadoes. We can't have 3 MSTs. It's too good. Next, Enemy Controller. Enemy Controller is a card that I find highly unfair. It's quick play, so you can use it in the battle phase. Tribute a monster, steal your opponents. There's so many games that are just won with an opponent dropping an enemy controller after they attack their last monster, stealing a monster, and just running them over. Can turn the monster to defense mode. And another big problem I have with enemy controller is there's no restriction on what you can do with the monster you steal. I would almost say it's almost as bad as brain control. I wouldn't say it's equally as bad as brain control because obviously you do need to give up a monster to play it, but I think it makes up enough for it that it needs to be at 1. Next, Glow Up Bulb should be at 1. I understand that Konami wanted to promote Xyz monsters. You shouldn't do it by killing Synchro monsters. Glow Up Bulb is a great, versatile, fair tuner. You can't do anything too stupid with Lone Fire, Dandy, and Glow Up Bulb. I mean, Spore was one of the big issues with that thing. Glow Up Bulb can be thrown in a lot of decks, give a little bit more synchro options. This card is Laval Volcano Handmaiden, I think is her English name. She's the one where if she's sent from your deck to the graveyard and there's another Laval in your graveyard, you can mill another Laval, and she lets you mill all the Lavals to your deck in the Laval deck. She is not a fair card to have at 3. I mean, you should not be able to play Sweltering Heat Conduction Field, ditch a Laval, and Laval Lady, send Laval Lady, send Laval Lady, send Lakeshore, and set your graveyard up that good. I mean, said the same thing about Future Fusion. Giving them a little bit more of a mill push is good, and I think they should have that, but not be able to mill that many cards out of their deck off of 1 card. I mean, milling 3 cards off of 1 is good. Milling 5 cards off of 1, yeah, it's been a long day, we just came out for work, is a little unfair. I don't have any Laval Ladies because they were selling for too much. Next, Semi-Limit. I only think there are 3 cards that probably need Semi-Limit in this format. Okay, Grapha. Recurs himself a little bit too easy. They still need a boss monster. Put him at 2. I want to try him at 2. I don't think they would need to limit it. I don't want to kill Dark Worlds. Next, Agent of Mystery Earth. Bump him up to 2. Agents shouldn't have been just killed right off. That's really dumb. It's a tuner monster. It gives a little bit of help to synchro monsters. More importantly, it gives agents a little bit more oomph to, come back a little bit. I think it's good. But in order for you to give Earth back, I think you need to semi-limit Hyperion. They still need a boss monster, but it's too easy to bring out, and they shouldn't be able to draw it as consistently as they do. I was tempted to say you should limit Hyperion, but it's a September format, so I think I would be okay with them semi-limiting it. Just because this card is a little bit easy to summon, but if you would have fairies in the graveyard, you do have to banish from the field or the hand. We do not have priority anymore, so you can get rid of it with things like Tarantula and not have to worry about them blowing shit up. And fairies do have other boss monsters. They do have Christia. They do have the Dark Lords, which are entirely different. They do have Tethys. Hyperion to 2. And that's what my spiel on what I think should happen to this ban list. I think Konami has a little bit of flexibility in the fact that it's a September format, so it isn't for Nats. But I swear to God, if some stupid shit like Wind-Ups wins Nats again, I am going to be really pissed off. There needs to be a balance for Konami to keep the game fresh and new, support their new ideas without destroying a format. One thing that you guys will notice that I didn't put on here is Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a card that I have sort of a love-hate relationship with. I don't necessarily... I think it might be jumping to conclusions to limit Rescue Rabbit right off the bat after in addition to limiting Tour Guide. The Vers Logia deck in Japan is relatively balanced. And I think if we limit Tour Guide, the Dino Rabbit deck will be slowed down enough that you can keep Rescue Rabbit at 3 without causing too much issues. The only reason why I'm saying this for a September list is because it is a September list. This way, we have a format to try things out, and if they don't work right, you fix them in the March list. Hopefully Konami isn't retarded and decide, let's just keep this format as fast as it is, and completely derpy as it is. I mean, half these decks are just spam Xyz monsters. That is not what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about. I mean, I'm all for summoning big-ass monsters and running them into each other. I like that. But it shouldn't be summon Xyz, fill my field up with Xyz monsters, throw my entire hand on the board. Oh, let me win. I don't think that's fair to anybody. I think our games need to be a little bit longer so that just the more skill is required in playing some of these decks. I don't agree with the term that things are autopilot. I think autopilot is one of the most retarded terms that everybody falls guilty of saying one time or other. But no deck is autopilot. And that's how I'm going to end this video. No deck is autopilot. Everything does have a player. Just some decks are easier. Some things are easier to play than others. Anyways, this is Aura 1 through 4 signing out.